The last time the Wigan team coach pulled out of Wakefield, its occupants were coming to terms with their involvement in a 62-0 hiding from the home side. A year later, they return today as Super League champions, and a side you feel that will use the scoreline of 12 months ago as motivation to finish their Easter programme with maximum points. They face a Trinity team once more defying the odds though, and more than capable of sending the Warriors home wounded. The Beaumont Legal Stadium is our home for Easter Monday. Right, a look at the Betfred Super League table will tell you that both the Wigan Warriors and Wakefield Trinity have recorded 5 wins apiece. But it's Wigan's draw against Huddersfield that sees them just 1 point in front of Trinity, 2 places in front of them on the league table. Now, round 9 started off at the John Smith Stadium last Wednesday. The Catalan Dragons came away victorious following their 7 points win. We brought you Warrington's second victory of the season at the Select Security Stadium on Thursday against Widnes, and then we moved to the DW, and what a game we got to start Good Friday's programme. 29-18, Wigan in front and won in the end. Kyla Moore sending off a major talking point in that game. We then went to the Mendahose Jungle where we saw the league leaders dismantle Wakefield 42 points to 24. And the scoreline that filtered through from the KCOM Stadium, well, it took some reading. For the second week in a row in defeat, Hull FC conceded over 50 points. This time the Rhinos victorious 52-24. And at the AJ Bell Stadium, second place Salford had to battle to a 12-6 win over Lee. If you want to see any of those match highlights, go on skysports.com/rugby league. They are all there, as will all the highlights from today's fixtures. Here's a little reminder of what's in front. Headingley Carnegie Widnes, they've made plenty of changes to their matchday squad. They go over to face a Leeds Rhino side that have an unchanged 19, but there are a couple of injury dates and a few players will face late fitness tests. Hull FC, there's some big stars absent for their trip over to Lee Sports Village. Lee have Josh Drinkwater back in their matchday 19. That will only strengthen their resolve, I should say, to record a much needed victory. At the totally wicked stadium, St Helens, how much will Friday's defeat at the hands of Wigan have taken out of them? They face the rampant league leaders who get Michael Shenton, their captain, back into their squad alongside Matt Cook and Nathan Massey. And Warrington, a couple of new additions to their team. Darryl Clark is back and Joe Westerman is back. Huddersfield, no Tom Simons for their trip over to the Halliwell Jones. And the last game of round 10 we will have for you live here on Sky Sports as Salford chase a record 6th consecutive Super League victory. They equalled a record of 20 years with their win against Lee. They're up against a Catalan Dragons side who are going for 3 in a row. Right, let's bring you up to date with the sides here at the Beaumont Legal Stadium. 3 changes to the Castleford team that beat the Wakefield team that beat Castleford. There's no Joe Rundle and no Bill Tubo. Tubo out with a hamstring injury, a Rundle a head injury. That means Ashley Gibson and Mason Caton Brown come into their side. Liam Finn was on the bench against Cass, and he starts now in place of Sam Williams. All of the forwards took the field against Castleford, so it's only changes from the bench there. Hubie, Wood and England, the preferred front row for today. And Keegan Hurst, he was very good a week ago against Widnes. He gets a start today. He's alongside David Fafita, Danny Kermond and Mitch Allgood. Now, Wigan have made some changes as well. Joe Burgess made a try-scoring return in the victory over St Helens. He is rested today. Liam Forsyth comes in. Morgan Escaray, well, he announced an extended contract after the final whistle against St Helens. He will be at Wigan for at least another 3 years. And in the forwards, all of the 6 forwards played their part in that victory. 2 men, though, come in on the bench. Alongside Frank-Paul Nuasala and Ryan Sutton are Nick Gregson and the Frenchman Roman Navarrete. Sean Wayne, the coach of the champions. Yes, welcome to the Beaumont Legal Stadium for the first game of our Easter Monday double header. Now, barely 72 hours after Good Friday finished, the players of Super League will do it all again. The rest time for the players and the preparation time for the coaches is minimal, as is the preparation time for our pundits. But no less, we'll roll you both out again. John Wells and Phil Clark. Guys, we're going to start looking forward to today's game by reflecting on Good Friday's results, in particular the Wigan game and the Wakefield game. Phil Clark, Wigan victorious and spectacular at times against St Helens. They come here, you would imagine, full of confidence following that 8th Easter victory in a row against Saints.
Yeah, they've shown an ability over the last 5 to 10 years to be able to get up and perform really well in that Good Friday clash against St Helens. Not only perform well, but score some spectacular tries, which I think always adds to the confidence of a side. He is one of them, certain to make my top 5 of this week here. Liam Marshall's been a brilliant finisher for Wigan and dives in dramatically in the corner, despite the attentions of St Helens defenders, to ground the ball and score what was an important one. Obviously, Wigan won by enough points that didn't win the game.
It was 19-12 at that point.
Yeah, it was an important one, but I think they always probably had an extra one in there. They did perform very well. The challenge for them, though, is now backing that up here in a stadium with far less fans, with less history behind the contest, and being able to play at a level that's good enough to win again.
If that's a challenge, John Wells, what about the challenge facing Wakefield Trinity? They were clearly second best against Castleford. There will be plenty of teams we will say that about this year. What, if anything, can they take from that defeat on Good Friday?
Well, there are positives to take out of the game, for sure. I think the way that Liam Finn played when he was introduced has warranted that starting spot. They're going to miss Tupu, they're going to miss Arundel, but I think they've got some more than capable replacements. They outscored the Tigers in the second 40 minutes. So you're looking about positives to take away from it. Well, you know, I'll look at you, Liam Marshall, and I'll see that, Phil, and I'll raise you Ben Jones-Bishop. We commentated on that game. It was a fantastic try, fantastic finish. They outscored the Tigers in the second half. They're the only side to score 24 points against the Tigers, all beating defeat. So there is plenty for them to take into today as well.
Wakefield went into that game buoyant. It's important they don't let that defeat make them come unstuck. Okay, I said it's short preparation time for both coaches. We can hear what they have to say now. Chris Chester and Sean Wayne spoke to Angela just a little while ago.
Here we go, round 2 of another energy-sapping Easter. How did it go on Friday in terms of troops, and how are they looking today?
Yeah, it was a tough encounter, wasn't it? Showed a little bit of spirit that second half. Troops, we're not doing too bad. We lost the 2 centres, Joe through a head injury and Bill Tupu through a hamstring. So there won't be a great deal of change. But listen, we're going to embrace this. It's a tough game against Wigan. They were going particularly well, and we'll go out there and give it us all.
The great thing about this is you come off the back of Castleford, your big derby, and they come off theirs as well. So usually it's a game where anything can happen, the second game of Easter. Yeah, it's a battle of energy, isn't it? And so whoever's got the most energy left in the tank at the end of the game. Hopefully that's us today, but we know how tough a game it's going to be. Sean will have them fired up, as they always are. But we're looking forward to it, Angela. It's another tough game, and if we want to be in that top 6, then we know we've got to win the majority of his home games. This time last year, I think it was 62-0, so you know what you can do to them on your day.
Listen, we caught them on a really bad day there. A lot of players missing and a few illnesses, but I'll take any win today. You know, whether that be 1 point or 2 points, or 30 points. We're just looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully the crowd turn out in the numbers as well today.
Sean, Wakefield are proving to be tough competition this year, but come off the back of a tough game on Friday as well. So did you. So it's going to be one of those games where you're never quite sure what might happen.
Yeah, true. They played well against Castleford. I watched the game again this morning. So, you know, I'm expecting a tough game. We struggled here last year. So Chris has got a really good team, got some good players in this side, and they really challenge you at home. And as we found out, so we need to be on board. We had a tough game on Friday, without a doubt. You know, but we want 4 points this weekend if possible.
They do challenge you here, as you said, and it was a big win, 62-0 last year. Your team is a different complexion from last time, though. You've got a much stronger squad out today. Yeah,
we have. You know, there's a few players playing today what played in that game, but they was very, very ill. So, you know, I'm not beating myself up about that scoreline, but I never expected that 62-0, to be honest. But you know, we want to put things right. We want to get 4 points. We don't want to play really well on Friday against St Helens and turn up with a pool on today. We want 4 points out of this weekend. But I'm sure Chris on the other side wants to bounce back after the loss against Cass.
You look at the conditions today. You couldn't get better really for a game of rugby league on an Easter Monday.
No, it's perfect. And one thing about this, Angela, the pitch is fantastic. The ground's a real rugby league ground, so I love coming here. It's a great crack.
Yes, and so say all of us. There's good and bad news, John Wells, for Chris Chester. He was very critical of his forwards after the defeat to Castleford, saying that Castleford rolled right through them, offloading the ball. He probably knows then where Wigan are going to come. The bad news is that Wigan are going to come with a pack as effective maybe as the Castleford Tigers, right down the middle. Do Wakefield have the forwards to stand up to that?
Wakefield have got some quality in their pack themselves. I think, like a lot of teams, they're going to find the Tigers very difficult to cope with in the middle of the field this year. I think, having said that, there were some individuals like Fafita, who we see warming up, holding the tackle back there, who is a genuine impact player. He's going to come off the bench today. I expect something from him.
Oh, Hubie's another ball playing forward as well, John. That's very effective.
Yeah, and he needs to stand up now. He's had a slow start to the season, but he comes with a big reputation. These boys they'll be ready to go. The one who impressed me the most was Tini Arona. He plays at loose forward today. He will challenge the Wigan Warriors around the ruck. We're talking about the Wakefield Trinity side getting rolled. He's one person you could genuinely look for to cause some problems for the Warriors.
So you would say they cannot have parity at the very least with the Wigan forwards is called for by Wakefield.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
I don't see how that's possible. Not when you look at the back row that Wigan have. Sean O'Loughlin's back in the side here now. And if you compare him to any other player who plays in that position, he throws about 20 passes a game. It's perhaps one of the reasons why Wigan do differ to other teams. They have a player who can make accurate passes that actually create the space for the likes of Liam Marshall and Tom Davis out wide. And he does that better than anybody else. And added in that, Liam Farrell is probably the fittest and most effective back row forward. Does so much work that you hardly notice it, but so much that it's important to Wigan.
Against St Helens. Liam Farrell.
He was, yeah, and they've got Joel Tompkins as well in there. So with jerseys 11, 12 and 13, the back row is as strong as they could predict at the start of the season, and I think it'll be too strong for Wakefield to cope with. It very often wears down the side, I think, the work that the back row do. Doesn't necessarily lead to spectacular plays that win the match, but the work they do in very often covering for defence and carrying the ball actually culminates in the victory for the team.
In those parts of the field as well, John, that Liam Farrell and Joel Tompkins are most effective, just a little wider the centre of the field, is where Wakefield have an issue. We saw when Dean Hadley was pushed out into the centres because of the absence of Bill Tupou with a head injury. They've now had to bring in two new centres in Mason Caton-Brown and in Ashley Gibson. This is an area you would think that Wigan will target. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, Phil, when I was saying about this back row. It is exceptional. Two slightly different styles. Joel Tompkins, very, very difficult to handle. He's somebody who can carry a ball out away from a tackle, cause you an awful lot of problems. He ends up with a lot of people grabbing at him. Liam Farrell, we know, one of the best line runners in Super League, and it's that area just outside that in the channels, the last 10 or 15 metres before the touchline, that Wakefield are going to ask some serious questions today.
We will keep a close eye on that. Can I get your predictions, gentlemen, before we go to the commentary team for kick-off? Phil Clark, starting with you.
I think it's a comfortable win for Wigan.
Comfortable win for the champions, John?
Yeah, Wakefield won the last 3 games here. I think that comes to an end today, but I think it might be a little tighter than you think.
OK, you think they will give them a battle. We can go to the commentary team now. They're going to be led as ever by Eddie Hemmings, and he will have beside him Barry McDermott and Terry O'Connor. Eddie, over to you.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, Wakefield are in 6th place and Wigan are 4th. Vital meeting for the hopes and aspirations then today of both of these clubs. And Wakefield had won 5 of 6 heading to Castleford on Friday. They were 12-36 down at half-time, but they won the second half 12-6 eventually. They lost by 42 points to 24. For the Wigan Warriors, though, they ended their 3-match losing run in some style with that 29-18 win against St Helens. 2 hours later, Wakefield's 3-match winning run was halted by the league leaders Castleford at the Jungle. And we're hearing a late positional switch for Wakefield right now. Mitch Allgood will start the match. Anthony England will start the match and Mitch Allgood is on the bench. Well, that's the way I had it, but obviously the team sheets didn't, that were handed up in the dressing room. So Anthony England starts and Mitch Allgood is on the bench. Terry O'Connor, Barry McDermott are alongside me. It's a very difficult match, this, and then it is even more difficult next weekend when they have the 3rd game in 8-9 days. We sometimes get upsets. We did last year. Wakefield 62, Wigan 0. Can it happen again?
Eddie, I'm not sure whether it'll happen again, but you'd always get teams getting turned over. Can they back up? They play the nearest and dearest on Good Friday, then they've got to come over to Wakefield, as in Wigan's case, but Wigan on Friday set the standards high, and the challenge for them is to back up that performance. Just 8 errors against Saints and conceded just 5 penalties, so they had the majority of possession, but they're going to be tested against the Wakefield side, who started the game slow against Cass, found themselves 36 points to 12 down at half-time. but second half there was a lot more positives. And I'm sure the fans from Wakefield have turned up hoping that they can do what they did last year. But as I said, Eddie, I'm not sure whether that's going to be the case. But Wakefield, I'm sure, will take Wigan on up front. You look at the big men that they've got on the bench, and it's going to be a forward battle.
Barry, you know, Wigan cannot climb higher than fourth today, even if they do win, and win handsomely. The aim, therefore, is to keep Leeds and Salford in their sights and try and keep Castleford Tigers close.
I think what Wigan will want to do is keep winning and maintain the standard that they set on Good Friday. It's an exceptional game for them on Good Friday. The standards that they played at, the intensity that they defended and attacked, both sides of the ball, they were good. And Wakefield might get a hangover, they might get Wigan at a low ebb and a little bit lacking in energy and enthusiasm, but I don't think so. I think that the first 10 or 15 minutes will tell us about the attitude of both teams, and we could see a lot of action in that middle channel. That's where Wigan take teams on, and Wakefield will want to match them.
Do you think Wakefield would take a win today? And when you think what's coming on Saturday when they take on Warrington away, live on Sky Sports, do you think they would have the win today and say, well, that's our Easter done? If we get a couple of points out of the next two matches, that'll do us, thank you very much.
Again, it's just about playing well. It's about getting the things you deserve because of the little individual things that you do. Collectively as a team, we want to get the 2 points, but that will come as a consequence of playing well.
Eddie, it'll be about the performance. What can they do against this Wigan side? They won't be looking forward to Saturday when they take on Warrington, as you said, in front of the Sky cameras. What they want to do today is deal what's in front of them. And what they've got is they've got a determined Wigan side. But you look at Wakefield, like Tom Johnson, the number 2, there who's on your screen. He can score tries from anywhere. He can cause problems today. They've got players that can do damage themselves. So for Chris Chester, he knows that it's about the side that he's put out today. Who's going to go out there, who's going to perform, and then who will back up on Saturday.
There are several players who are on something of personal milestones here today. Wakefield's full-back, for instance, Scott Griggs, it's his 200th Super League appearance. 148 of them, though, were for Huddersfield. And there's quite a list of Wigan players who are celebrating. Anthony Gelling, it's his 100th Wigan appearance. It's the 200th Wigan appearance of Thomas Luluai, the 100th Super League appearance for Sam Powell, and the 100th start for Ben Flower. But Chris Chester, the Wakefield Trinity coach, will be not interested in any of those statistics. The only statistic he will be interested in is what the scoreline ends up at the end of the match. Just like to give a quick word, by the way, before the game starts here today, to John Cookson, the North Wales Crusaders prop. You might well have read that he suffered a heart attack after the game against the Toronto Wolfpack on Good Friday. Well, John was taken off to hospital, but now happily he is on the mend. So we wish him well. John Cookson, all of us on Sky Sports, and I'm sure every rugby league fan in the country will wish John all the best for rapid recovery. Jack Smith is today's big match referee. The sun is peeping out. It's Bank Holiday Monday, it's Easter Monday, it's Wakefield against Wigan, and we're about to get underway with Wakefield wearing the red jerseys. They will be kicking off as we watch from right to left, and Wigan in their changed purple strip this afternoon. Glorious sunshine then on this Easter Monday afternoon as Scott Griggs gets this game underway. Absolutely vital it is for both sides as well. George Williams was underneath the kickoff, and Talima Tautai with the first run. It's his first starting appearance since playing loose forward against Widnes last March, and Widnes won on that occasion by 18 points to 12.
Well, this is a fabulous carry, isn't it? The first touch of the ball from Talima Tautai. They've probably looked at the bench for Wakefield and thought, well, do you know what? If you fancy taking us on up front, we're going to be up for this challenge.
Sean O'Loughlin goes down, tackle number 3, first set of the match. Here is Thomas Luluai, and he gets the ball away to Joel Tompkins. Oh, and that ball has come free. It is not a knock-on, it is a penalty.
It was Craig Hooby when he goes in, tries to manhandle Joel Tompkins, who was outstanding on Good Friday. He strips the ball from him, and you can see that there's 2 players in attendance, and as soon as that's the case, well, that's going to be a penalty. If it was one-on-one, it was free to go.
Mason, you've got to hold your 10. So first penalty of the match goes Wigan's way in the opening minute of the match, and they will restart from the halfway line with Gelling, and he gives it to Luluai, who looks for the runners on his inside, and that is Ben Flower. And Kyle Wood was in pretty quickly there, as was Tinaru Arona.
He has been impressive over the last month or so, but I think it's a smart move. Tautai, a former Wakefield player, playing against his old club, and it gives Frank Paul Nuasale the ability to come off the bench. I think he's an impact player as well as Talima Tautai. There's a mistake from Wigan. Thomas Luluai tries to collect a ball off Sean O'Loughlin. It's just a little bit behind him, and he fumbles the ball.
You never normally see that, do you? Sean O'Loughlin covers most positions. I think there's only full-back and wing he doesn't cover, and that he's played in his career. But to go at the line like he always does, deliver that pass, that just wasn't good enough for a man of his standards.
Tell me, at this time of the year when matches come thick and fast over the next 7 or 8 days or so, and this one is 72 hours after Good Friday, do coaches expect slow starts? Do they expect a couple of early mistakes? Do they expect mistakes full stop?
They wouldn't take that as an excuse, Eddie. You go out there, you play, you've played on Good Friday, whether you've had a good win, you want to keep going forward and pick with those performances. If you've been defeated, like Chris Chester's men were, you want to make sure that you go out there and start really well and do everything that you didn't do at the start of the game at the week before the weekend.
And I'm just thinking about the mentality of these Wigan players. They put so much into that Good Friday game against St Helens. If you come here and lose, then it's all for nothing. It's exact same points, even though it means a little bit more for the fans and the people on the terraces. The 2 competition points that they could potentially lose here will make Friday's win a hollow win.
Mason Caton-Brown has hold of the football for Wakefield, who are seeking a 4th consecutive home win here. They lost on home soil for the only time this year in round 1 against Hull, and it was a shocking day. It was pouring down with rain. It was a bit of a mud bath. This isn't the case today, and it has been an impressive start to the season, considering where they won here just 4 times last year on this ground. So it's Kyle Wood, and the ball goes into centre field to Arona, and here is Anthony England. It's only England's 5th appearance of this year. They've reached the 5th tackle, have Wakefield, and Liam Finn will hoist the kick, but only a short kick. Chance for everyone to chase it. And well claimed over on that far side. Good leap into the air by the impressive Liam Marshall.
Isn't he impressive? Liam Marshall, brave as well, the youngster, knowing that there's a couple of Wakefield jerseys in front of him. Wakefield will look at trying to play behind a decent kicking game today, and when you look at Liam Finn and Jacob Miller, they've certainly got those players that can cause Wigan problem in the backfield.
Tautai goes down again, as Barry says, up against his former club here today.
There's a lot of strapping on Gelling there.
You wouldn't notice it, but that's a nice ankle tap. It was needed too by Jacob Miller. Brings Gelling down on the last tackle, and then he plays the ball, and he had a man, Matty Ashurst, lying in the ruck, and he gets the penalty.
That's good work from Gelling. Of course, you mentioned he's on his 100th game, received a gift from his teammates, a plant. He was presented with his shirt. They mark the occasion. They do that very well at the Wigan club, but he's a bit quirky, is Anthony Gelling, and his teammates decided he'd appreciate a pot plant.
OK, this is Thomas Luluai, gets a short ball away to Joel Tompkins. And Wigan here have piggybacked down to the Wakefield end of the field on the back of that penalty. They're just 3 or 4 metres shy of the line with Sam Powell. Now it is with Luluai. There is O'Loughlin. Here is George Williams, second marquee player that has been signed by Wigan, of course. 4-year deal agreed last week. Great news for the game in this country. Great news for the Wigan Warriors, as Powell is behind him at dummy half. Luluai drops the ball off again to Tautai. Looks in determined mood early here, does Tautai. He drives himself all the way to the line, but Wakefield's defenders hold him up. And so referee Jack Smith says go back to the 10-metre line, and the tackle count will continue.
Well, it's Kyle Wood.
Apparently he's going to be sent to the blood bin here because he took a bang early on, and as you can see, the blood is coming down pretty fiercely from that nose.
There's an old Trojan, isn't he, to Liam Tautai. There's the head clash with Anthony England. Gets rid of England, but he comes off second best. But
was that from the kick-off? That I think it was, wasn't it?
First challenge, I think. Yes.
Credit Kyle Wood there as well. He was strong, wasn't he? Clamped onto that ball as soon as he was pumping those legs forward, trying to get over the line and trying to ground the ball. Kyle Wood wouldn't let him though.
The referee wants him off the field to be tidied up. I think the guidelines are pretty stringent, aren't they, Stuart? And I think the referee has every right to ask Talima Tautai to get cleaned up.
Well, it's a second treatment, so he has to go off. He's had one treatment on the field, which is allowed. After that, he's got to go off the field.
Well, he hasn't gone off the field. He's just changing his shirt. And Wigan, I think he's got this ball down. I think he has, Sean O'Loughlin. Sean O'Loughlin has got the first try of the match. He captained Wigan to victory on Friday, of course, on his return from injury. And he has got his first try of 2017 here on Easter Monday afternoon against the Wakefield Trinity side.
Well, Anthony Gelling gets Wigan into decent field position, gets rid of Craig Hubie, then bumps off Arona, and then when he goes into the tackle here, he uses his brain. He steps over Ashurst, knowing that if he plays the ball back into him, his side will receive a penalty. And this comes off the back of a slow play. Well, this is poor defence from Talima Tautai, having to leave the field or change his shirt in backfield. You've got to make sure that your online defence is better than this. And this just wasn't good enough for Chris Chester, and it's a poor start for Wakefield.
Was it on Friday where we saw Castleford on a number of occasions get the body between the ball and the floor, preventing Wakefield from putting that ball down over the line? Well, Wakefield failed to use the same skill, and Sean O'Loughlin came back into the Wigan side on Good Friday, was impressive on Good Friday, opens the scoring for the Warriors.
And here is Friday's man of the match, Morgan Escaray, the French international, who nonchalantly just drills that ball over the top of the crossbar. Wigan are ahead by 6 points to 0. He failed to score all the way through last year, did Sean O'Loughlin. This is his first try since the 48-12 win at Hull in July 2015.
They've had a lot of ball in the opening 6 minutes, Wigan. And in terms of field position, they've had the majority of the field position. So for Wakefield, the lesson is we can't play this game near our own line.
Yes, Scott.
Well, Wigan arriving here with memories of that 62 points to 0 drubbing they received just about 12 months ago. And, well, there was a little bit of talk pre-match about revenge and trying to right the wrongs of that, but their most recent encounter came in the Super 8s last year, when Wigan answered that 11-try mauling here with 11 tries of their own, 60-12, and they look in the mood to score plenty more here today as this kick downfield just bounces left instead of right, and Marshall, well, he was chasing after it, but the rugby ball does a funny thing now and again when it hits the deck. Look, big left turn.
It was the right option. He gets a wonderful ball from Liam Farrell. Right on the money is the pass from the second row. I know Phil Clark was talking in glowing terms about Liam Farrell, but Liam Marshall puts the ball inside, and were it not for a better bounce, it could have had a different result.
You can't knock the confidence of youngsters, can you? But kicking on the second tackle, was it there? There was space at the back. I'm not so sure whether the coach, Sean Wayne, will be saying, look, I don't mind you doing that as long as you come up with it.
Well, he might have done had the ball not bounced the wrong way for him. You could see his frustration. It was all over his face, Liam Marshall. It's his 8th game in a row on the wing. That's a nice little short ball that found Matty Ashurst. Here is Wood again. He had Miller on his shoulder. Gives it instead to Craig Hubie. Hubie gets Wakefield to the 40-metre line, just 10 inside the halfway in Wigan territory. Wood, they come down the short side with Miller. Miller gets it away to Mason Caton Brown. He spins away from Luluai's initial challenge. Can't get away from him the second time, though. Ashurst from dummy half finds Miller. Here is Liam Finn. Skips inside the challenge that would have been coming in from Flower. Finds Griggs. Griggs goes wide. It's a dab to the in-goal area. It's a chance for Scott Griggs, and it is. A response immediately. Ashley Gibson's little dab through. And Scott Griggs is on the end of the bouncing ball, the bouncing kick through. But the referee and touch judge have a slight problem about offside or onside. So Jack Smith has handed it upstairs to Robert Hicks, today's video referee, Stuart.
Yeah, I think it's just on the kick through at the end of the play as to where everybody was. I think everybody's behind the ball there. Scott Griggs is certainly inside the kicker, behind the ball. So I think this try will be confirmed.
Well, if it is confirmed, it's a lovely way for Griggs to celebrate his 200th Super League appearance.
I think it's very close, but you can see the cut of the grass there, that Griggs is onside on the inside of him, so both feet are behind the ball when it's kicked. So this will be play on. Robert Hicks will just check the grounding, but again, it should be confirmed.
Well, if it is given the green light, this will be a try for Griggs in 4 of 5 games at home this year. And as you can see, it's been given the thumbs up by Robert Hicks. So Wakefield's response was immediate. And Scott Griggs, try against Widnes last Friday week, made it the 600th point for him in the game.
Well, this will give Trinity a confidence boost. It's Ben Flower who tries to put some pressure on Liam Finn, the scrum half for Wakefield. He finds a pass. Scott Griggs on hand. He delivers a pass to the flanks, stays in the picture, stays in motion, and collects the rewards. Good stuff from the fullback.
And can Liam Finn add the extras? Not this time. Normally a very reliable goal kicker is Liam Finn. And Chris Chester can't believe that they've thrown 2 points away then.
Well, you take your points. He was certain that they were going to kick that, but Ben Flower putting pressure on Liam Finn. On the last play, Liam Finn just chooses to pass the ball out to Griggs, who in turn gives the ball out wide, then to his teammate Ashley Gibson, who comes up with a decent kick back inside. And just to blow 2 points straight in front of the sticks. Wow, you don't see Liam Finn miss many of those.
No, he doesn't. This is Anthony England taking the ball forward on the next tackle. And here's Chris Chester looking at the conversion miss. A man who wears his heart on his sleeve is Chris Chester.
Move, Liam, get square!
He's done a tremendous job here, hasn't he?
He has. And a former teammate of yours, isn't he?
Yep.
At Wigan.
Sam, hold! Go,
certainly knows how to read the game, break the game down, but knows you've got to do all the hard stuff first. And early on in the game, and that's exactly what Craig Hooby's doing, looking for the offload. Is that a mistake?
I think he lost that.
Yeah.
He did.
Well, he's backing off in the tackle, and he's got Ben Flower and Sean O'Loughlin, two of the biggest players that Wigan have got. And he's still trying to get his arm free. One of those compulsive offloaders that you've got. You've got to know your teammates' strengths and weaknesses, and that is certainly one of his strengths, Craig Hooby.
Thought for a moment Jack Smith had missed that, but plainly his touch judges hadn't.
Yes, Mark Craven on this side was the man who came in with the call for it.
Let's go, Tommy. Let's pack it down, lads.
And as you can see, he got it absolutely right. So Wigan will get head and feet at the scrum just inside Wakefield territory. And this is young Liam Forsyth who's bringing forward. He missed last Friday, but he's played in the previous 5.
Hold.
So almost a seasoned first-teamer here as Powell gets it away to Williams. Williams goes wide and finds that man Marshall. 8 tries this season so far for Liam Marshall. He's Wigan's top try scorer. Ben Flower now will take it forward into the 20-metre zone for the Wigan Warriors. Sam Powell is the dummy half. Coming into centre field with Luluai, and then back it comes to Morgan Escaray. Escaray, a lateral run from him. And almost into the arms of Liam Finn. In the arms of Dean Hadley in the end. Williams finds Flower. Here is the try scorer for Wigan, Sean O'Loughlin. Reach tackle number 5. What little bit of magic does Williams or Luluai or Escaray have in the arsenal here? Well, the pass from Joel Tompkins wasn't the best.
The little flip pass out the back from Joel Tompkins when he goes into the Wakefield defender. He's isolating a man, then he's trying to just set his centre free. And then Wigan, like they always do when they get you trapped in the corner, they work on the line speed. Unfortunately for Sean Wayne, they're not back with the referee, Jack Smith. They give the penalty away. And this is cheap meters now here for Wakefield. There's the little flick pass, just goes straight into Tom Johnson.
Well, it's cheap meters, as you say, Terry, for Wakefield, and they'll be grateful for that. They were trapped right near their own line. Now they begin this set 10 metres off halfway. Hadley taking it in, met by Tautai and Tompkins. Vigorous challenges. That's good stuff from the Wigan defence. Referee eventually shouts held, but they pushed him back 8, 9, maybe 10 metres there. This is Miller. Gets the ball away again, and Hadley. His month's loan has been extended for another month from the Black and Whites of Hull FC. Kyle Wood. Griggs, the try scorer. Miller, Mason Caton Brown. Little half break, halted by Luluai's challenge. Tom Johnson at dummy half. Miller just dabbed the kick over the top, looking for Liam Finn.
Okay,
well watched, very well watched by another youngster, Tom Davis. Once more, Wigan get the penalty because that was a high shot.
Well, it's a good kick,
Just wait, Morgan. Tommy
but it was
behind.
early in the tackle count. On the fourth, had another tackle to play with, maybe another chance to set something up. The kick was put in, it was collected by Wigan. Liam Marshall showing composure again, and he just wears an elbow, or sorry, wears a forearm. Jacob Miller too high.
Move, Ash! Paul Craig, wait, go.
Looks like everything's okay. So O'Loughlin in centre field finds Luluai. And come wide here.
Backwards.
And it went backwards off Tom Davis's fingertips, but they've lost a little bit of momentum. Tom Johnson was all over him.
That's the second time he's looked a bit sloppy, Thomas Luluai. Look at his arm, he's got strapping on his left elbow, on his right elbow, should I say. He's another one that looks like he's carrying a knot. That's going to alter and twist his passes.
It's a good carry from Tautai.
Williams now for Wigan will attack the line. They eventually get to him.
Move, Ash! Hold.
Craig Hubie.
Go, 5.
This is Escaray. Thought about going down the short side. And there was a bit of a collision there between the Wakefield defender and a Wigan man. But here now is Luluai with a high kick. This is measured. Johnson's underneath it. He gets away from Davis. Sees Tautai, tries to get away from him.
Well, some of the passing for Wigan not quite fired him.
Hold.
As Barry said earlier, the passes are just going behind. They've got to slow down the run. They've got to reach behind, which breaks the stride. And going forward.
Ben Jones-Bishop now.
Hold, Liam.
7 tries for Ben Jones-Bishop, 5 in the last 4 games. So some strike power, Wakefield.
Move, Liam. Hold, Ben. Hold, Sam. Go.
3 times an England Knights international. And Danny Kermond is off the bench for the Wakefield side.
That's a great tackle. Hits underneath the ball and drives forward, sending the player back, George Williams.
England again, taking it forward.
He's been dealt with well. Anthony England, in Wakefield's terms, is the enforcer. He's the talisman for that team, and whenever he's had the ball, Wigan have looked to dominate him.
Well, I was going to say there's trouble here for Miller, but there isn't. He got away from it superbly. And he needs a bit of support, but the challenge from Escaray forced the knock on. This is a free play for Wigan, and Tom Davis will respond. Well, good play by both sides there.
Jacobs Miller's speed gets them out of trouble. And that's what they've got in their armour. You look at Grix, you look at Miller, Finn, Kyle Wood. All players can kick the ball. So when you put pressure on one of them, there's still other people to pick up, and that was a good tackle. But Jacob Miller, well, the speed that he's got, I'm sure Wigan will be alert next time.
It looked as though he'd gone down a blind alley and he wasn't going to get to anything from that last tackle, but he did superbly, Miller. But then, big challenge from Escaray, cleared up any danger. This now is Tautai in centre field, gives it to Flower. He finds Williams. Wakefield standing off in defence, that might be fatal.
Move.
4 tackles gone, says the referee. Was Liam Farrell, try scorer against Saints on Good Friday, takes it forward. And on tackle number 5, he will play the ball 12 metres away from the Wakefield line. It's with Luluai. Here is Tompkins. This is Gelling. Gelling, well, the thought was there, but the execution wasn't quite right. Davis was waiting on the wing, but the pass just went in front of him.
Well, they're dangerous on both edges, Wigan. But that's the second time now Wigan have gone for that little one-handed flick pass. The first time it was Joel Tompkins, now it was Anthony Gelling. Here's Miller. Well, you think you'd have him, and all of a sudden he just uses his speed. He's looking for one of his teammates, but Morgan Escaray just gets to him, makes that mistake.
Yeah, he tacked the arm, didn't he?
That's an aspect of his game he's really improved during 2017. Morgan Escaray, he's playing with confidence. That's playing for everyone to see, but it's the other side of the ball where I think he's really improved.
Sean, 10 metres.
Tight game, Wakefield 4, Wigan 6. We've had 17 minutes of this first half. Wigan first to score.
William George.
And then the response from Wakefield and Scott Grix. As Liam Finn goes for a 40-20, but this is not directed terribly well, but it's a great kick for all of that because it's right on the Wigan goal line. The chase is not bad. It's from the kicker himself, Liam Finn.
And it was brilliant play from Liam Finn. He spotted that Morgan Escaré was back on his own, all isolated. There was no wingers to link up with. All of a sudden, as soon as he kicks that ball, he's got him and 4 of his teammates chasing downfield, looking to win that first play.
Anthony Gelling
3. Move, Danny, hold!
will get to his feet.
Hold, go, 3.
Eventually plays the ball to Luluai. They go back into centre field to Powell, and he then gives it to Joel Tompkins. Tompkins is held just shy of the 40-metre line. Tautai to Williams. Williams gets the ball away to Liam Finn. Williams was clattered after the ball had gone, or simultaneously as the ball went. Escaré then from dummy half gets the kick away. That's good play from the young French fullback.
Good kick again, and he just pops out from dummy half, buys his side 20-30 metres. And if my theory's right about this game, Frank Paul Nuasala's just entered the field of play now. The intensity should ratchet up.
But there's a problem here for Gelling by the looks of things.
There's a few players, and it's noticeable in the Wigan ranks, there's a few players carrying knocks and bumps, and the toughness of the rugby league player. He'll just say to his coach, either he's okay or he's not, but most of the time, I'm okay, coach, just strap it up and I'll give you as good as I've got.
Eddie, you can get away with bumps and bangs. You can't get away with something that if you pulled something. So if it's just a bump and a bang that you've picked up from the weekend, you should be okay. Sean Wayne making a substitution, but he's also looking to bring on young Ryan Sutton, and I'm sure it won't be too long before you see Mitch Allgood and David Fafita.
For Wakefield, here's a penalty meanwhile for Wakefield. Caton Brown taking one in the face for his pains. I'm glad you called one of the Wigan players young Ryan Sutton. He's 21. I've just called Morgan Escaré young, and he's 25. You and I, Terry, you see, we think the policemen are young now. I'm sorry about that, but we do. Halfway line, Wakefield will start again with Mason Caton Brown to Jacob Miller. Now Craig Hubie. Bumpers are up because he could see Frank Paul Nuasala and Ben Flower closing in.
It's aggressive line speed. You know that if you're coming off a +1 or a +2 to centre field, the men who are defending in the middle are going to get up quick on you.
He caught one for his corner then, did Miller, as Nuasala came in over the top. He shakes his head as he played that ball. Arona gets it into the middle to find Anthony England. Castleford 6-0 up at St Helens. And highlights, don't forget, of all the games being played this afternoon after the full-time whistles. League leaders up at Saints.
They're looking to do a number on him. Every time Anthony England gets the ball, there's 3 players in. They're trying to make him feel uncomfortable, make him feel like he's in the target of the Wigan players. At that point, the leg lift, the hips are above horizontal, so that's where the penalty comes from. But it's just a nudge to say every time you get the ball, you're having one, lad.
Anthony England. This now Craig Hubie. Every time you get the ball, you're having one, lad. That sounds like the Barry McDermott School of Coaching. Here is Kyle Wood. Gets the ball away. England once again. You're having one, lad. Well, not this time. Kyle Wood is the dummy half. They're 9 metres away at Wakefield. Good ball. Hubie again. But a forward pass. Frustration again for Chris Chester.
Well, Kyle Wood is just looking for 2 of his bigger men who are playing in the middle to pick a line. Craig Hubie and Arona going at a couple of defenders close to the try line. Someone be that lead runner that can pick. Both of those players were options. Unfortunately, the option that was chosen by Kyle Wood was a forward pass.
Well, Joel Tompkins is leaving the field, and Nick Gregson is coming on. Warrington and Huddersfield 4 apiece at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium. Castleford 6-0 at Saints. Wigan 6-4 here at Wakefield. And Leeds 12 up against Widnes. All the teams playing this Easter Monday afternoon. And of course, once we are finished here, it is Catalan Dragons against the Salford Red Devils that you will be able to see live with us here on Sky Sports, on Sky Sports 2. Catalan against second place Salford. Isn't it great to say in 2017? League leaders Castleford, second place Salford. Of course, that won't go down terribly well with the Wigans, the Saints and the Leeds of this world, but it's tremendous to see new names at the top.
You want competition, you want to see teams turning up and beating those top sides. I think it's tremendous what Castleford and Salford have done this year.
Indeed. I was talking to Michael Carter, the chairman of Wakefield, just before the game. He said, that's what we've got this year, unpredictability. And here is Davis for Wigan. And that's the turnover. Now, I don't think that young Davis realised that was the last tackle.
No, I'm sure that ball would have been kicked down the field. And there it is, Michael Carter.
High hopes that these new plans that have been published or talked about will show that the new community stadium will come for Wakefield in the future. He needs to see the plans in more detail, though, he says, before he will give any detailed comment. But optimism.
Nice play from Ben Jones-Bishop and Scott Griggs. And they go into contact, turning, offloading the ball to his fullback, and then all of a sudden, look, Wakefield seem to be on a bit of a roll here.
Miller gets the ball away to Mason Caton-Brown. Back it goes into Griggs. It's Miller once again. Certainly giving Wigan a run for their money in this first half, no doubt about that. Mitch Olgood gets the pass away. And Danny Kermon goes down under the challenge. But here they come, Wakefield. Red jerseys are flooding forward. That ball went behind.
What a shame.
Fafita. And Wigan are offside.
What a shame. Looks like
he says take two. Chris Chester saying let's take two.
They're going to keep
John
possession.
Keir says let's take two.
Yeah.
Can they get the message out quick enough? I think they have. There was a panic there, wasn't there? A panic between John and Chris.
You're right, Eddie. They're moving Wigan about a little bit. We've just got into the second quarter of this game, and the two old heads, the two people in charge of this Wakefield side, will know that the try that they scored, the conversion that they missed, those 2 points could be crucial at the end. So when given the opportunity, as they are now, they'll redress the balance and take it back to 6 points.
If they can. This for Liam Finn for his 5th goal of the season. 900 career goals, 2,300 plus career points, 140 career tries from Liam Finn, and 22 points in the big win here against Wigan last April. This time he hits the mark. It's 6 apiece.
Eddie, to get to this field position, you've got to start backing yourself, winning those plays, getting quick play the balls, offloading in contact, and that's exactly what Wakefield are doing. And from that play then, all of a sudden, when Scott Griggs gets up, plays that ball, and it was a superb pass by that man, Ben Jones-Bishop. Wakefield are on the front foot. As soon as they're on the front foot, then all of a sudden Wigan give that penalty away, which leads to those 2 points.
So Morgan Escaré to restart. 24.5 minutes of the first half gone. We're all square, 6-all. That's a big run from Fafita. He felt that, did Thomas Luluai.
Well, you don't see many people do that to Thomas Luluai. He might not be the biggest, Thomas Luluai, but his tackling technique is exceptional. Fafita picks him out, goes straight at him, dips his shoulder, gets rid of him.
So Fafita again, slips the pass. Miller. You say Jacob Miller looks in the mood.
Like it, Eddie. Support the men who can offload the ball.
Here's the big fella again. Well, that ball is... Well, I was going to say it was taken out by Sean O'Loughlin, but the referee, Jack Smith, sees it another way.
Yeah, I think he's got to have more grip on this ball, use his footwork at the line. Goes down. Yeah, Sean O'Loughlin's hand is over there, the left hand.
Difficult, Stuart, isn't it, for the referees in situations like that?
Well, it is. It's difficult to see a ball steal. They'll look for a pulling action of Sean O'Loughlin's arm. You don't see that, and the ball seems to squirt out as he hits the floor. So that'll be why Jack Smith's seen it as a knock-on.
Ball in, Tommy.
So Luluai feeds the scrum. Powell from the back of it finds Williams, who in turn gives it to Liam Farrell. Warrington ahead against Huddersfield.
Hold, go, one.
Sam Powell comes into centre field. Ryan Sutton. Kermon's on his back. Fafita was round his ankles.
Go, 2.
Powell again. Luluai. Back it comes to Escaré. Now there are purple, I was going to say there are purple jerseys everywhere. There was a knock-on, 2 knock-ons. First one was by Wakefield, was it?
By Wigan. I think it's Gregson, is it?
Yeah, Nick Gregson's.
Oh, beg pardon.
His arms are down by his side. He's expecting that ball to go across the front of him. And he fixes the defender, Morgan Escaré, trying to slot the second row through the space. Sean Wayne, he's frustrated with the way his side are playing in good ball, which is the part of the pitch nearest to your opponent's try line.
Let's go. Wait, Jacob, wait for me. Mason,
Wigan can't afford to throw away the chances that they're creating for themselves.
Well, Wakefield won't be arguing about that decision, that's for sure. Why would they?
Surrender.
Kyle Wood is buried. under the considerable frame of Frank Paul Nuasala.
3. Move, Frank! Hold, go.
And that was Ashley Gibson. Gibson will be delighted to be back in the side. It's his first appearance in Super League this year.
4.
Been out on dual registration with Dewsbury. He played last Sunday in the defeated Halifax. So keeping fit elsewhere. This is Hadley, meanwhile.
5.
Goes down on halfway under Powell's challenge. Griggs with the kick from dummy half. It's on the halfway line. But it's a nice kick for all of that. It finds touch over on that far side. Decent management by Scott Griggs.
It is a good kick from Scott Griggs, with some decent carries coming out of their own end. Then for Wakefield, and there was a nice little drop-off play from Hadley, who gets back centre field. And on the next play, Scott Griggs just steps up, spots a bit of space behind Liam Marshall, and just comes up with, as you say, Eddie, a clever kick to the corner.
Well, Leeds now 18-0 up against Widnes. And the Vikings really are struggling in 2017. Injuries and lots of disruption. And that scoreline will not do them any good in the opening half hour or so at Leeds. In fact, theirs was a 3 o'clock kickoff, wasn't it? So it's even less than that. 20 minutes or thereabouts.
Hold, go, 2.
Sean O'Loughlin takes a breather, by the way, as Roman Navarrete comes in for another appearance, the former Catalan Dragon. And Paul Nuasala going down. It was a good challenge by Kermon, by Hadley, that. Scott Griggs picks it up off the foot. Good chase.
Well, just over 10 minutes to go before half-time. And there'll be a couple of get-on-board sets here. Don't switch off. Make sure your concentration's high. Keep playing every single play that you've got. And Liam Finn, he'll want a big influence, just bossing his bigger forwards around just as they start to get tired now. But again, good defence from Wigan. It's a number of times they're holding up the Wakefield player. They're not letting him get to ground, and they're pushing him back.
That was Ashley Gibson on that occasion. That's another good hit this time from Liam Forsyth. Liam Finn gives it a bit of space and finds Miller. Griggs then gets it wide to Mason Caton-Brown. Now this fella can move. Oh, that's dangerous. And he knew it too, Anthony Gelling. The moment that he lifted the ankle, he knew he was in bother.
Straight away, Eddie, I totally agree with you. When he gets underneath, see Sam Powell comes over the top. He apologises straight away to Mason Caton-Brown.
Well, it's certainly the lift of the leg that's caused the problem from Anthony Gelling. I think he may well go in the sin bin for this. It's the actions of his teammates as well in the tackle that have placed him in the dangerous position, but certainly warrants 10 minutes in the bin.
So he will maybe return with 25 seconds or thereabouts of this first half to go. There's the lift, and then it's made worse.
You watch that, don't you, and you think, what's Anthony Gelling thinking there? Why is he lifting the leg? Well, when players lift an opponent's leg, it's designed to stop and slow the momentum of that ball carrier down to the point where he just wants to hit the deck and play the ball, and Anthony Gelling will have 10 minutes to think about his action, but that's a technique used in the modern game, the leg lift. Sometimes you get it wrong.
Pull ahead at Lee as Wakefield come forward here. The ball goes all over the place.
Navarrete gets off his line, just hits all good. It was a good, full-blooded shot, wasn't it? Hits him with everything. There's no shoulder, there's no chest, it's a bit of everything. And look at that. Excited about defending the Frenchman, Navarrete.
It was a good hit, it really was, and bearing in mind the fact that they're down to 12 men with Gelling in the sin bin. They have upped the ante defensively, Wigan, in that set.
And you've got to ride tough periods. Losing the captain as well, he's gone off for a breather, Sean O'Loughlin, so there's more pressure on other players, senior players in a Wigan jersey. But Wakefield, wow, they're sticking into this game. And you look at the way they're playing, they're building in confidence, Eddie.
They are, as are Huddersfield, sticking into their game against Warrington, 10 apiece at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium. Here, 6-all.
Get square! Hold, go, 2.
As that man, Romain Navarrete, gets to his feet. Here is Frank Paul Nuasala.
3.
Starting off the bench for his 20th consecutive appearance. The first time he's been on the bench in 17. Oh, and Liam Farrell has just lost the compass, and he puts his hand up. He knows it was a mistake.
Yeah. Throws that ball, he's looking for the winger. What you do like about that left side, they're not afraid to shift that ball and give it the youngster Liam Marshall. You know the speed that he's got in his kit bag, and Liam Marshall is one of the standout players for the Warriors on that left edge when he plays with George Williams. There's a good combination there. And so is that man, Liam Marshall.
Hadley. And Armstrong is halted by Johnson, I beg your pardon. Johnson halted by good challenging. There's Johnson again. 30 metres out. Miller, Fafita. Navarrette's putting himself around, isn't he?
Yeah.
Really getting stuck in, the Frenchman. Miller. Liam Finn. All back on the inside. And Danny Kermond hounded to the ground on tackle number 4. 20 metres out now. Wood to Griggs. He got the ball away as well to Gibson. And he is spun to the ground. Will play the ball on the last tackle here, Wakefield. Liam Finn, Jacob Miller, showed it to Fafita, dabbed the ball towards the in-goal area. Good play. Good play by the youngster Davis. And what about this for a response? Oh, and a big clatter as well from Fafita. And then he gets the penalty because there was a second push.
It's a hefty challenge from Fafita, but lovely play by Tom Davis on his own line. Nice kick through, it's collected, and Tom Davis with an open field pins his ears back when he eventually is tackled, and a hefty challenge. Fafita goes in for another goal.
Ryan Sutton now for Wigan gets them to the halfway line. The champions being held here, 6 apiece. Man in the sin bin though, Anthony Gelling. Williams showed it to Farrell, showed it to somebody else, and then kept going on the run himself. Again gets a great ball away. Oh, lovely footwork from Morgan Escaré. That's a super try from Wigan. And so often this year we've seen George Williams open up defences either with runs like that or with little kicks through, and players flood up and support him, and on that occasion it was Morgan Escaré, but that try still took some scoring, and it was lovely feet from the Frenchman.
Well, George Williams, he'll always look to take on the line. The durable little half that he is. He's so powerful, but Davis, well, he saves the day at one end, doesn't he? Gets the ball, doesn't panic, knows that he's got to get down and try and play the ball as quick as they can. They get the penalty because of his urgency to get up. They go up the other end of the field, and just over 6 minutes to go. George Williams at the line, looking to bring somebody onto the play, and then as soon as, I think it's Mitch Allgood, turns his hips in to try and tackle George Williams, he opens up some space, and Morgan Escaré is always pushing up. Always make sure as a fullback you're pushing up that middle channel, you're supporting the breaks, and look at the footwork, the speed that this little Frenchman's got. He's an excellent player to watch, isn't he?
He really is. He scored the try. He's going to try and convert the try now for Wigan, having enjoyed his man of the match display against the Saints on Good Friday, and a new 3-year extension to his contract signed as well here at Wigan until the end of 2020. And he had tries against Wakefield for the Catalan Dragons over in France 3 years in a row, 2014, 15 and 16. He's now got one against Wakefield in 2017, and Wigan are ahead by 12 points to 6.
Well, good players, when you're defending against a good player, they just make you hesitate. And you can see the Wakefield players, they're not sure what George Williams is going to do, so they're trying to almost anticipate his next step, and that leaves you very vulnerable. And what he's got the ability to make things up as he's going along, make good decisions, play ad-lib, and he finds a beautiful pass to Morgan Escaré for the try.
So Wakefield 6, Wigan's 12. As Navarrette takes it forward again, steps over Mitch Allgood, plays the ball. Here comes Ryan Sutton on the charge.
Just so aggressive every time they carry the ball, Wigan.
Frank Paul Nuasala's turn now.
Every carry there, Eddie, they're not even looking to pass, they're looking to pick one man out and get over the top of them.
Powell will give it to Luluai. Escaray hunting another try was there on his shoulder. They've got 2 men on the floor, have Wakefield, so they're a bit light in defence here. Miller is one of them, he looks in a bad way, and Dean Hadley is the other. There's a dab over the top in towards the left-hand wing of Liam Marshall, and Jacob Miller is in a bit of pain here, as is Dean Hadley.
Very hard to stop that momentum from that set then, because it all comes about from the run from the forwards. Here's where a couple of Wakefield players clash and get injured, and they are struggling. Hadley.
Was that collateral damage, do you think?
I think so, yeah. Kyle Wood almost landed on his half-back Jacob Miller's thigh, and under the weight, there you go. Maybe physio's checking the stability of the knee, deciding. There's a few players down, isn't there? There's Hadley, and he picks his injury up on Morgan Escaray, but I agree with you, Tez. It's probably about 15 minutes later than I thought, but that direct set of 6 where players are going in at the ruck, trying to bring the defenders nice and tight to see if it can open some space up. Unfortunate for Dean Hadley. Looks like they're going to have to take a closer look at that injury.
Looks like a shoulder, obviously, doesn't it? Because that's what he's holding. Medical training, you see.
Well done, Eddie.
Good work, Eddie.
No flies
well,
on you,
okay,
is there?
all right, well, what's up with him? What's up with Jacob Miller?
Well, Jacob Miller, well, he's taking his place. I think it was rather his knee.
I think it was his knee.
His knee that gets caught.
Well done. You watched him being treated as well.
But Eddie, that just comes around that set and those injuries because they were on the back foot, powerful runs, powerful surges, then all of a sudden they were defending with their feet close together. They were just sat there waiting for Thomas Luluwai to make his play in front of them.
Well, that could be real problems for Chris Chester if those two are not fit enough to come back on. Wood gets the pass inside to Keegan Hurst, and down he goes. He missed the Good Friday match, but he played in all of the previous 3, and they were all won as well. Well, Dean Hadley does have a problem. This is Liam Finn. The kick was attempting to go over the head of Escaray. It didn't, and so Davis will try and work the ball forward.
Need a minute's work here on defence. Don't switch off, don't let Wigan in. Again, just before half-time. Good teams always look to turn the screw before half-time. They'll all turn up, they'll all want to touch the ball. They look to shift it here to the right edge.
Oh, that's a gift. And Mason Caton Brown just couldn't get away.
It was a good job Davis got hold of him, then it was a certain try, wasn't it?
Yes, and Keegan Hurst taking it forward now to the 10-metre line.
Sloppy offload from Wigan.
This went behind Nick Gregson. This is Miller, who looks as though he's recovered suddenly. He's in the thick of the action. Mason Caton Brown finds Miller again. Miller then infield, it goes to Allgood. Allgood then to Finn. Finn to Griggs. They have a man on the outside. It's Ben Jones-Bishop. And Ben Jones-Bishop, I think, has scored one of those spectacular aerial tries that we have come to know and love in 2017. He has. Ben Jones-Bishop. 5 tries in his last 4 before today. 8th try of the season. And it was the sloppy offload by Wigan on the other side of the field that led to all this.
Well, the power game for Wigan looked good for me today. But Wigan on that occasion, choosing to put it through the hands, they made a mistake. And there's some really smart stuff in this try, particularly on the edges here. Watch what Scott Griggs does when he gets the ball. He holds, and gives Ben Jones-Bishop enough time to finish, and he's gaining quite a reputation. Over the last 3 or 4 years of his career, he's perfected that skill. But Scott Griggs composed and gives no time. Liam Marshall can't get there in the end.
Applause from the coaching staff, and why wouldn't there be? That was a spectacular score from Ben Jones-Bishop. Brilliant effort against Castleford on Friday. And another spectacular try here on Easter Monday. Now, Liam Finn, this is his most difficult kick of the afternoon so far. This to level the scores. Pulled it in front of the posts. Wakefield 10, Wigan 12.
You've got to credit Ashley Gibson as well, who cuts a good line in. He gets Liam Forsyth interested, which is the Wigan's number 32. His dummy run, when he goes through there, he creates the space on the edge for Scott Griggs. And when Scott Griggs goes straight, he knows he's got to straighten up the players that will create again that little effort on the outside for that man, Ben Jones-Bishop. Well constructed try.
And the two sides, when Wakefield offload the ball, they use the ball, try and pass it to players in space. They look really dangerous this afternoon. I think the opposite case can be said for the Wigan side. When they go strong and powerful around that middle channel, they look dangerous too.
Well, Anthony Gelling can only be seconds away from returning to the fray with his 10 minutes in the bin almost served. In fact, he's getting prepared now to take his place in this defensive line, and as Keegan Hurst brings it forward for Wakefield. He's got the arm free, or he thought he had. He's thinking about the offload. He gets it away as well. The ball, though, is untidily back with Liam Finn. Here now is Arona. He finds Miller. Miller shaped to come left and then went back into centre field, and he gave it to Keegan Hurst. He wasn't really waiting for it then.
And have it back. I think he did really well, Keegan Hurst. He's reversing again with an offload. Good work.
Great stuff. Arona. Hauled down by Escaray. Gelling back on the field. Wigan back up to a full complement. Here come Wakefield again, though. Last movement of this first half. Liam Finn gets a short ball away. Ball hits the ground, went backwards. Here is Danny Kermond. That's flicked and found at Ben Jones-Bishop. The referee gives a penalty for offside, I think, against Ben Jones-Bishop on that far side.
Wow, it's everywhere, that ball. A couple of players coming together as well.
It's the two fullbacks in it, Scott Griggs and Morgan Escaray. Two very contrasting styles of fullback, but both fierce competitors.
It's a penalty to Wigan.
Offside, yes. I think it was Ben Jones-Bishop on the wing was in front of the kick when the kick went in, and that's the penalty. There he is, in front.
Yes, it was. Well, Wigan just put the kick out and then said, well, that'll do us. So 12-10, the champions lead. Chris Chester and Sean Wayne with a little work to do during the half-time breather. O'Loughlin's opening try for Wigan, his first of the year, improved by Escaray. Wigan led 6-0 after only 6 minutes. But then Trinity came forward themselves with the try from Griggs. Finn missed the conversion, but he later added a penalty. That made it 6-all. Escaray's try, which he himself converted, and just before half-time, the spectacular effort from Ben Jones-Bishop gives us the scoreline of Wakefield Trinity 10, Wigan Warriors 12.